Hello everybody and welcome to the Friday wrap for today, October 3rd, 2014. It is October. Holy crap, September is already done. It's insane. I can't believe personally that it's October already. I love October. It's my favorite month of the year. It really is, which is kind of weird because it used to be not my favorite month, but as I've gotten older, I guess I started to just appreciate the autumn weather, at least on the East Coast, the more I got older, which is weird because I was a big summer fan when I was younger, which probably has to do with the fact that it was summer vacation. And then like winter was like my second favorite, but that probably has to do because Christmas is there. As I left school, kind of worked normally, you know, out in the world, October kind of really took its place as my number one season for whatever reason, and it is now. Or should I say October is my number one month, autumn is my number one season. It's just like that cool mix of solid, cool weather with the leaves changing and everything. I love it so much. So this week on the Friday wrap is going to be kind of some channel updates as well as a D&D update, finally, for all those who care about Dungeons and Dragons. So first, the channel update. So if you were here last week, you knew I was very excited for Shadow of Mordor. I talked about doing a series on it. I was really excited to play it, and my excitement was well placed because the game ended up being very good. The problem ended up being with Warner Brothers Games Interactive or whatever. They are one of the most confounding YouTube industries, or YouTube, I don't want to say friendly. They're one of the most confounding like companies to work with when it comes to YouTube. Because they'll do paid promotion for videos, they'll invest in things like machinima, they invested like $18 or $20 million in a machinima, but they'll still claim fucking YouTube videos of their games. And that's what happened. I did 2 videos, and they ended up claiming both of the videos due to audio visual, which doesn't give me a copyright strike, mind you. It just means that any money that's gained off those videos, anything that happens, goes to WB. It doesn't go to me, the person who puts the work into making those videos. It's a very frustrating practice. We kind of went through this last year when this whole new YouTube content ID match system came out, and a lot of the companies play ball with us as YouTubers because they realize that we serve an interesting part into this whole, video game genre, this whole video game niche, this whole video game, I don't want to say company, industry, I guess. And almost all of them play ball, but 2 companies in particular are very difficult to work with. That'd be WB Games and Sega of Japan. Now, I'm told Sega North America is a lot more lenient when it comes to things, but Sega of Japan is not. They're very they'll claim videos like crazy. And a lot of the companies that, as far as I understand, that still do that are Nintendo, Sega Japan, a lot of Japanese companies, but Warner Brothers is another one. So I had to can that series because it would take it's a big game, so it was going to be a huge long series. It's going to take a ton of time, and I wanted to explore all the side quests and the stories and everything with you guys. So if I wasn't able to, make a little bit of something off that, to compensate the time I was using, editing, audio balancing, all that good stuff, it's just literally a time sink. So I'd rather stream it when I have time and play it during my off time when videos are rendering and stuff, as opposed to take up time in my work schedule and end up not getting anything in return. It sucks. I'm really upset about it, but there's nothing I can do. So that kind of got shelved. Tuesday, Alien Isolation comes out, which is another game I'm very excited for. It's a horror game. It's a game I've been looking at and watching for a long time. I got to play it at PAX Prime, and I was very interested in it. The reviews hit today, and they're kind of all over the place. They're mostly positive, I think. They're mostly like 8 and above, 7.5s and above. But the ones that are not so good are basically saying they're like really low. They're like 5, 6s. And it's funny because they're both the good and the bad reviews are saying the exact same thing. The good reviews are like, the alien is unpredictable. He's a force of death. You have to avoid him. You have to hide. You have to wait for him to go away. It's terrifying. He is a learned AI. He's kind of just does his own thing. He'll never be in the same place twice. So if you end up dying and you go back into the same room you died in, he might not even be there because he's kind of acting on his own volition. He's his own being. He thinks for himself in a lot of ways, so it's unpredictable, and they like that. The negative reviews are like, the alien is unpredictable. You never know where he's gonna be. He could kill you. It's very frustrating. He's very difficult. So they're both saying the same thing about the game. It's just like, it sounds like some of the reviewers don't understand, or maybe just don't enjoy, which is totally cool. And that's why their opinions are still just as valid. They just don't enjoy that type of horror game, while those who scored high seem to really love that type of horror game. I kind of fall into that category where I really like that type of horror game. And the fact that I'm hearing that the AI is unpredictable, kind of acts on its own, excites me, because I played Outlast, and I'd say the first half of Outlast I was scared. It was a very spooky game. I jumped a lot. I was incredibly frightened with everything going on. But as I played more and more and I got toward the end, I came to the realization that I could predict the AI. There were certain weaknesses within the AI that I was able to very easily exploit, and the game no longer lost its fear, no longer was scary for me, and very much lost its fear factor. I was able to manipulate the AI to make the game easier, constantly running, knowing that the what do you call it? The AI couldn't jump over tables. Like, that kind of thing really made it easy for me. So, like, if an enemy came running at me and I was, like, in between a table, I'd wait for him to start looping around the table, and then I'd jump over and he'd finish his loop and go around and come after me. Like, that kind of thing. With horror games, especially with somebody who plays them in the stealth fashion that they're meant to, who watches the AI behavior, who watches the game and how it behaves in general, you're going to start nitpicking all those things and learn how to play the game against itself. That's why Outlast, for me, really lost its luster halfway through, because I was able to pick apart the parts that were scary and realize that the AI is kind of dumb. Alien, from what I can read, is that that's not the case. The Alien kind of adapts to you. It learns. It does its own thing. It's unpredictable, so you can't play the AI against itself. The AI is always going to be working against you as the player, which makes it scary, and I'm excited for that. So from what I can tell, the game is going to be a game I'm going to like, but it might not be a game you like. I also plan on doing a series for it, so if it ends up going well, hopefully it doesn't get claimed by Sega or anything, and we'll have a series up and running day one of the game being launched. I'm psyched. It's going to be awesome. Other than that, we do have How to Full Boyfriend on our channel, which is hilarious. For those who don't understand, it's very much a sarcastic series. It's a game that I did because Warner Brothers claimed my stuff. It's not going to be there forever. I'll probably run through one storyline and be done with it. I laughed my butt off when I play it, and I still laugh my butt off when I'm playing it because it's really, really funny. I'm enjoying it for what it is, and it does what it does well enough, and it definitely doesn't take itself, at least so far, too seriously, though people are like, wait till you get to the end, man, it's deep. And I'm like, oh, okay, weird. So that's it for the channel. Everything else is going normally. I'm excited. I'm just really excited for Alien Isolation. We might be seeing the return of Elite Dangerous to the channel soon. One of the big things is I wanted to put off Elite Dangerous until Beta 2 hit. Beta 2 hit a couple of days ago. But it ended up being pretty buggy, so they've been hot patching it, like 4 or 5 hot patches over the past couple of days. From my understanding, it's pretty stable now, so I might dive in, do a little bit of flying around, show off some more Beta 2 if I can, a little bit more long form, as I tend to do, and then we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening with it. But that's it. Channel news, done. That's all I've got for you as far as channel stuff is concerned. So the last thing I do want to talk about is D&D. So I've been leaving Dungeons & Dragons out of my updates for a long time, and there's a reason for that. It's a very convoluted, difficult plot line, and I'm not really going to go over what's going on in the plot line. Needless to say, things have been insane. A quick recap about my character so you understand kind of the levity of everything that's happened. We're playing a political thriller. We're playing with an illusionist who is kind of like the brains. He very much is into the trying to figure things out. We have, as of now, an old soldier who's also kind of in the political side, but he's more in the political side because he's related to noble. He's kind of a noble himself, so he's almost forced to be political in that way. We have a paladin who, as much as it would be great if she was into the political end of the campaign, she's a very stalwart paladin who just kind of marches towards the enemy and takes care of them. And then we have me, who is a wild mage. And if you don't remember me talking about a wild mage, basically I'm a magic user, but every time I use a spell, there's a high probability that my spell goes off and then something crazy ends up happening with it. Whether the spell I cast halfway through casting ends up turning into another spell accidentally, or if I cast a spell and then I think a little spittle right there. I cast a spell and then maybe rounds later it goes off and doesn't go off right away, or I cast a spell and accidentally puppies show up, or I cast a spell and me and the target swap places. Like, crazy things can happen when I cast magic. That's kind of the idea of my character. And in being that, he was an unpredictable force, and that was kind of like what I meant him to be. He was supposed to be somebody who kind of kicked the party in the pants when things got slow and did something kind of chaotic, in that he would basically force plot to happen, or he would force something interesting to happen. And for a long time, that was what a few party members were pushing me to do. Let's put it that way. Very much saying, please do something crazy. It gets the plot going. Eventually, those crazy actions ended up getting me killed. I killed the wrong person at the wrong time without really thinking it through. My character got sentenced to like basically 20 or 30 years in prison, and that basically would have been the end of my character. So my character was also a warforged, which is like a living construct kind of thing. So what ended up happening was I knew my character was going to die, so I sent him off with a bang. I made him the target of the nation so they could come together in this kind of unified way and focus their efforts on me as the enemy for one reason or another. It basically brought them all together. What ended up happening, though, was the story kind of got progressed. My soul was kind of a part of two beings. It was my character, known as Anvari, the wild mage part of the soul, and then another soul that was inside this crystal as part of a warforged. When I did what I did, when I exploded and sent my body off to be an enemy, the actual me that was part of the character, this is where it's getting convoluted and why I don't want to get into it too much, ended up being separated and pulled out of that body, making what I used to be the actual enemy and a totally different person for the nations to fight against. I ended up dispersing into the ether and creating something called the Mournlands, basically a second version of something called the Mournlands. And I was dispersed. Over the course of time, it came to the realization that I had made a pretty big impact on a couple of the party members. They really kind of grew fond of my character and his chaotic actions because at heart, he's a good person. And I befriended one of the most hard to befriend party members that we had. So what I thought was the end of my character, and why I didn't talk about it, because I thought he was dead and I was going to be making a new character and I didn't play last week, ended up coming back due to another party member spending what we call a destiny point. You only get one destiny point for the entire campaign, and it basically allows you to do essentially a session's worth of DMing. You get to kind of control in a way with the DM how you want things to happen. And they spent the destiny point to bring me back to the party because I had made such a big impact on them and on the party. And so what I thought was my character being dead ended up coming back, but he ended up coming back as a totally different being. No longer was he sharing two souls. He was now himself. And he himself, his soul, is comprised of a piece of the plane of chaos known as Kaithri. I am chaos incarnate, which is why it's hard for me to control my magics and all this stuff. And he's slowly learning what that means and how it all came to be. And that's kind of part of the story. Might have sounded really confusing to some of you. It was really hard to condense all of that into a few minutes because we're already at 13 minutes. But I didn't want to kind of understand like the chaos that was this campaign and still kind of is this campaign and how bizarre it's been of a campaign. Probably easily one of the most stressful and weird campaigns I've ever played in the freaking almost 10 years I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons. No, over 10 years I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons. That's saying something. It is a very difficult campaign to really kind of swallow a lot of the time. It's really, really weird. So to say that it's been a bizarre campaign, try and condense that into a couple minutes and understand the levity of everything that's happened is impossible. So I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you guys for coming by. That's it for the Friday wrap. I don't really have much else to talk about. Look out on the channel for some new stuff. I'm really excited. I hope to God Alien does not get claimed, and I hope I get to get a series up showing you guys all of this game. This game is going to be so cool. I will see you on Tuesday with that in particular, but I will see you later today with the regular stuff. Thank you all for coming by, and I'll see you next Friday. Bye-bye.